The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. 2 killed in separate traffic accidents within hours of each other. An off-duty officer stabbed as he tried to break up a fight. And just days ahead of International Women's Day, we are talking women's issues in the Bahamas and getting details about how this day will be celebrated. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Wednesday, March 5th, 2025. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Chester Robards will be joining us. Also this morning, we'll be talking about trade opportunities with Canada. This coming on the heels of the Bahamas-Canada trade mission just a few days ago. We'll find out more what came out of that. That's all ahead, but first it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, police investigated the country's latest traffic fatalities coming within hours of each other. Yesterday evening, police on Prince Charles Drive investigating the accident that claimed a male victim. This was near Doris Johnson Senior High School. That accident coming just hours after a traffic fatality on Sapodilla Boulevard off East Street South involving a female victim. Investigations continue into what led to an off-duty police officer being stabbed. This happened early yesterday morning in New Providence. Police say shortly after 2 a.m. a fight broke out at an establishment on Charles Vincent Street. The officer intervened in an attempt to stop the brawl, but he was stabbed in the chest, beaten, and hit in the face with a bottle. EMS responded to the scene and transported the officer to the hospital. He's listed in stable condition. Police say the suspects fled the scene, and the search continues for them. 2 armed robberies on New Providence Monday night, the first shortly after 10 p.m. in the Bacardi and Carmichael Road area. Police say the victim was driving north on Bacardi Road when a man in dark clothing ran in front of his car, pointed a gun, and demanded that he get out of the vehicle. The assailant fled in the car, a black 4-door Infiniti. License plate number AA1242. The second incident took place shortly after midnight on Sumner Street off Soldier Road. Police say the victim was sitting in his car outside a residence when he was confronted by a man with a gun in a dark hoodie who demanded that he get out of the vehicle. That culprit fled in that purple Nissan Cube, license plate number 7385. Two Bahamian men denying smuggling $1.5 million in marijuana from Florida to Grand Bahama. 37-year-old Alvaro Benaby and 35-year-old Edwis Hall appeared before Acting Chief Magistrate Charlton Smith on charges of drug possession with intent to supply, conspiracy to possess drugs with intent to supply, drug importation, and conspiracy to import drugs. The charges stem from the February 26th seizure of 500 pounds of hydroponic marijuana while customs officers and police officers searched a boat in Grand Bahama. The men pleaded not guilty and were each granted $50,000 bail. As a condition of bail, the men will be fitted with ankle monitors and have to sign in weekly at the police station. Their trial is set for July 7th. A Supreme Court judge setting bail at $50,000 cash for two Colombians accused of conspiring to import drugs worth $15 million into Acklands. Julio Casadiego and John Pena have been in custody since their arrest in December 2024. Justice Neil Brathwaite said it would be unreasonable to deny bail because the prosecution had failed to provide evidence to conclude that there was a reasonable suspicion that they had committed an offense. Under the terms of their bail, Casadiego and Pena must wear ankle bracelets. They're allowed to leave the country but must appear in court for all hearings unless they are excused. Officers from the Drug Enforcement Unit launched an investigation after a drug-laden plane crash-landed on Acklands on December 6, 2024. Police seized 1,952 pounds of cocaine and 50 pounds of hydroponic marijuana. Police arrested the plane's owner, Mickey Albert, Jerry Pierre, Chelsea Armley, Robert McSweeney, Demario Ferguson, Casadiego, and Pena in Long Island later that day. Pilots Hugh Gray Jr. and Donald Ferguson were later charged in relation to the alleged conspiracy. Overseas, Pope Francis resting today, the start of the solemn Lenten period leading up to Holy Week observances. This after sleeping through the night with a ventilation mask as he undergoes hospital treatment for double pneumonia. In its latest update, the Vatican said the Pope rested well overnight, waking up shortly after 8 a.m. Pope Francis remains in stable condition with a guarded prognosis, meaning he was not out of danger. He resumed supplemental oxygen delivered by nasal tube in the morning, alternating from a ventilation mask at night as doctors seek to ease his breathing for a deeper rest. The 88-year-old Pope, who has chronic lung disease and had part of one lung removed as a young man, had two respiratory crises on Monday in a setback to his recovery. On Tuesday, he was breathing with just the help of supplemental oxygen after respiratory crises a day earlier, but resumed using a ventilation mask at night. Francis' hospitalization began on February 14th. That is the longest of his 12-year papacy. Meanwhile, Francis' treatment continues as the Vatican prepares for Lent, the solemn period beginning with Ash Wednesday today and leading up to Easter on April 20th. A cardinal has been designated to take Francis' place at Vatican celebrations with a traditional service and procession in Rome. And from the U.S., U.S. President Donald Trump delivering a speech to both the House and the Senate. His speech on Tuesday night relentlessly partisan, boasting about his election victory and criticizing Democrats for failing to recognize his accomplishments. Trump set a tone of division almost from his first words, calling his predecessor Joe Biden the worst president in history and chiding Democrats He placed himself alongside the country's first president, George Washington, when discussing what he said were the flood of early achievements in his second term. The president gave voice to a frustration of many Americans over rising costs of groceries, particularly the skyrocketing cost of eggs, blaming Biden instead of the bird flu. And he lavished praise on Elon Musk, the billionaire who has been tasked with overhauling the federal government and workforce. Democrats tried to verbally fact-check the president by shouting false at some of his assertions of success. Musk, seated in the gallery, stood when Republicans applauded him. Democrats held signs that said, "Musk steals." Trump also said that Musk has found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud, vastly overstating his team's accomplishments. And for rich foreigners, he talked up his plan to introduce $5 million gold cards, giving the wealthy preferred immigration status. He also made the case that he's for the everyman, redoubling on campaign promises to pursue 3 legislative efforts that could have huge impacts on working Americans, calling for no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits. In sports, it seems like Kai Jones needed a change of scenery or maybe a return to the state where he played college basketball. Bahamian big man signing a 2-way contract with the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA and was in action Monday night as the Mavericks hosted the Sacramento Kings. Jones joining forces with Klay Thompson, son of Bahamian basketball legend Michael Sweetbells Thompson. Jones scoring a career-high 21 points on 9 for 10 shooting from the field, including a few light reel dunks, but the Mavs suffered a wire-to-wire 122-98 loss and fell to a 32-30 win-loss record for the season, 10th in the Western Conference in the NBA. More from the NBA from last night. LeBron James well on his way to rewriting every previous definition of basketball longevity, and the 40-year-old star now racking up numbers the NBA has never seen before, becoming the first player to score 50,000 combined points in the regular season and postseason Tuesday night, surpassing the mark with a three-pointer early in the third quarter of the LA Lakers' 136-115 win over the New Orleans Pelicans. James finishing with 34 points against the Pelicans after toppling another milestone in his unprecedented career. James already is the top scorer in NBA history in both the regular season and the playoffs, maintaining a spectacular level of play midway through his record-tying 22nd season, pulling away from other greats of the game like Lakers great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who played 20 seasons, now a distant second with 44,149 combined points. We told you about his injury yesterday, but it appears Dallas Mavericks star Kyrie Irving has a torn ACL in his left knee and will miss the rest of the season, the biggest setback in a season full of them for a team that traded superstar Luka Doncic. The team confirming Irving's diagnosis Tuesday, a day after he was injured in the first quarter of that loss to the Kings. Following the injury, Irving making 2 free throws with tears rolling down his cheeks before leaving the game. And Kevin Durant scored 34 points. Devin Booker added 15, and the Phoenix Suns rallied from a 23-point deficit late in the third quarter to beat the LA Clippers 119-117 Tuesday night. The Suns trailed by 19 entering the fourth, but came all the way back thanks to big buckets from Durant and backup guard Colin Gillespie. Phoenix had a 43-22 advantage in the fourth, reviving its playoff hopes. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, that near gale warning remains in effect for the northern Bahamas. We've got high pressure along with a tight pressure gradient that continues to produce the fresh to strong winds we've been seeing and rough seas across the northern and northwestern islands. Light to moderate breezes for the central and southeastern Bahamas. Meanwhile, a cold front is expected to enter the northern Bahamas tonight, accompanied by scattered showers and possible thunderstorms. That frontal boundary is going to quickly move through the islands and leave the area by Friday. Winds behind the front will once again become stronger over all areas, but by Friday, windy conditions will subside heading into the weekend as weak high pressure builds over the islands. Although the winds are going to calm down, rough seas will continue to affect Atlantic coastal areas through Saturday. Beachgoers should avoid entering northern, eastern, and Atlantic exposed waters of the northern and northwest Bahamas due to these high risk of rip currents and rough surf conditions. For today, for most areas, we're looking at partly cloudy and breezy conditions. A 10 to 30% chance of showers, increasing to 40 to 50% this evening for the northern Bahamas as that front moves through. Most areas seeing about a 10 to 30% chance of rain. Wind southeast to south at 15 to 25 knots with higher gusts shifting south to southwest tonight. For the northern and northwest Bahamas, southeasterly at 15 to 20 knots, falling to 10 to 15 knots by this afternoon for the central and southeastern islands. High temperatures for the northern and northwest Bahamas around 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius, about 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius for the central and southeastern Bahamas. Overnight lows tonight getting down to the mid-70s for most areas. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up in just a bit. You are listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Do you have uncontrollable debt? Are you ready to make that move to Fidelity for a stress-free future? These loans have a built-in savings plan that pays you unbeatable interest. Ask about our debt consolidation loans today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Looking to elevate your gadget game or are tech troubles simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
Spain sounds like this. But with a little Caribbean it can sound like this. The world needs more Caribbean. And with FedEx, you can ship your products to every corner with increased cargo capabilities, 24/7 shipment tracking, and shipping tools. Take your business worldwide and enjoy life a bit more like us.
You try to rest, roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers. For window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
You're a builder. You want to give your client the best material at the best prices, and you need to put food on the table. Well, check out these prices at Pinder Enterprises. 5/8 pressure-treated roofing ply starting at $36.68, includes VAT. By the way, all these prices include VAT. Gray Select Water Shield, $134.20 a roll. Felt, 15 pounds, $16.50, 30 pounds, $19.80. Owens Corning Duration Shingles and Certainty Landmark Shingles, $56.56 a bundle. Down the Roof Cement, $33.47. When it comes to screwing and nailing, Pinder got you covered. He got every nail and screw you could possibly need.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BETC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line, powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Chester Robards. Chester Robards, good morning.
Good morning.
Great to have you with us, as always.
Glad to be here.
A lot to talk about this morning. International Women's Day is coming up. We're going to get talk about that with one group that's organizing a march and a big event on International Women's Day, and talk about women's issues as well. And then later in business, we are talking about the Bahamas Trade Mission just a few days ago. What came out of that? We're going to get some information and see where things go now. That's all ahead. But right now, let's talk about what else is in the news. And in the news, we're going to get to a lot of local news in just a bit. Just, did you by any chance watch last night?
I was, when I reawakened from my slumber, I watched the end bits of,
Well, it's very lengthy. We're talking about U.S. President Donald Trump and his address to the joint session of Congress, the House and the Senate yesterday. Yeah. And some interesting things in there.
I saw him turn that little boy into a Big Papi show and turn him into a Secret Service agent.
Well, yeah, that happened. But they all do that. All the presidents highlight somebody, and it's awkward and weird, and like, what is
I
this?
know
about?
that
That one was
stretchy.
extra cringy, but
Yeah.
but every year it's like the State of the Union. There's always somebody they bring up, and like, oh, I remember this person. Like, wow. But again, the takeaways. He's the best president ever, and Joe Biden was the worst, according to Donald Trump. And Greenland. Yeah, you might as well don't even try
There
to
was
resist
a
it.
real discussion about that afterwards.
Who was having that?
One of his people.
Oh, being interviewed about it?
Yeah.
They're really going to do this. And he said,
They-
by
they-
any means necessary.
But they were like, those people are in danger, and they have to be saved.
Danger of Americans
No.
doing something to them?
Somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Russians, obviously, and other. And they were like, they might want this. Why do people think that they don't? I was like, what? What are these people? Nobody's ever heard of this until he mentioned Greenland.
Greenland today, who tomorrow? But yeah, so he said by any means necessary, they're going to get Greenland. And so there are lots of people talking in the papers today about the impact of the tariffs that went into effect on Mexico and Canada yesterday, and Canada retaliating, saying they're going to do the same thing, and they're not going to sit back and tolerate this nonsense.
Trump saying, you tariff us, we can tariff you.
Right? So this is going to be insane. And the fear of inflation and prices going higher than ever is real, We'll find out what Mexico does later this week. China always ready to retaliate on this, and it's already started. And of course, people are using the words trade war. This is what we are seeing. Former allies.
Yeah.
And for what? And even Trump admitted that there's going to be some hardship at first. Why? Why would you do this? Is this really going to get what you want? These are not your states. These are independent countries, and this is going to end badly. But anyway,
It is going to end badly.
But anyway,
there must be some strange means to an end that we don't know about that's in his head, because I don't know. I can't imagine what it is.
Yeah. So we can quickly talk about that if you wish. You can give us a call or text us, 422-4796. We've got a text coming in already. The fact that Elon Musk and Doge found people who are over 200 years old and one who is 360 years old collecting Social Security payments should be praised. Well, that's if you believe that, right? That needs to be fact-checked. And just because that was said doesn't mean that is accurate. So they say. This texter says the most hilarious thing was when they shouted down the Democrat congressman with chants of USA, USA for a few seconds. I tried to figure out if the U.S. congressman was from Russia or China. Well, he didn't look like most of them, so maybe that's what that was all about. Yeah, interesting times.
Yeah, very much so.
Very interesting.
I saw that Elon was upset about the SNL opening skit and everything.
Yeah? Why? Why was he upset? That's how he acts.
He said it wasn't funny.
Oh, okay. Not to him. Sure. But it's not funny what he does. I can tell you that. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. 242-300-5720. Now, listen, what they're trying to do, in theory, trying to figure out where the waste is, it's admirable. Absolutely. And we could use some of, not the tactics, but we could use that type of going through everything
and
spirit around here, right?
Killing all of the, he says bureaucaucy. What we need to destroy is the red tape.
Yes.
Which part of that is a lot of bureaucracy.
Yeah, same thing. But we know there's a lot of wastage, definitely.
Yeah.
So that is not a horrible thing. But the way that they're doing it is questionable. So, and I think that's what the Democrats said in their rebuttal. There is a way to do things. And but it doesn't appear that they're doing things in a healthy way.
Right.
In a helpful way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly asking people to list 5 things that they've done, like you in primary school, is weird. At the very least.
Did you see what SNL said when Elon was asked to list the 5 things he did? Okay, so this texture says here, a CBS News article stated that a poll was taken and 85% of Greenlanders don't want to become a part of the U.S. I'm sure it doesn't matter one bit what they want. Not at all. And that's the scary thing about it. That's the scary thing about it. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Did he mention Puerto Rico at all? What are they going to do about a country that's part of them? Anything? Did you hear? I didn't hear anything about Puerto Rico.
Why would he be mentioning
Right, well, okay, but Greenland. Sure. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight, and good morning. I'm Chester.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, Dwight, don't too abruptly now. That's allow me to, to make a point quickly. I enjoyed that State of the Union address last night. I listened to you all talking about the way Doge is doing things, right? But the primary purpose, what I understand why they are doing it, is based that you have a lot of people who are on the taxpayers' roll who are being paid, and they're not even to work. And I hope that the Bahamas government is watching what is happening in the United States of America. I'm not worrying about the woke agenda or the little liberal things that some people are going heads and heels over because of what Donald Trump did. But if you look at his social and economic policies, it's something that the world should want to emulate. And I wish the Bahamas government would give the Auditor General the type of power and staffing to deal with our various ministries the way Elon Musk is dealing with his. We'll save tons and millions of dollars, and you know this. But we're not doing it. We're just looking at the little trivial things that Donald Trump is talking about in reference with the woke agenda. But when you look at his clear, concise policies, look at what he did for Lincoln Riley. Look at what he did with the young man who had cancer. I mean, these things are motivational things, Dwight. This is how you build a country. But many persons in the Bahamas are suffering senselessly. If the Bahamas government would just pause for a second and curtail the way they are spending the taxpayers' money. They want the pump and pageantry. They want all the benefits, but they just don't want to do the work. We don't even have an oncology center. We don't have a dialysis unit. People are dying because they're not getting adequate treatment as relates to their dialysis, their kidney failures. Why are we just looking at the trivial things and they're trying to denounce Trump or trying to push Trump off as Trump is doing something that will hurt the world? I mean, those tariffs that he put on various countries, every single one of them fell in line. Look at Zelensky the other day. Just yesterday, he wrote Trump a letter indicating that he wants to cooperate. I mean, but you all continue on with the trivial things.
He wants to cooperate because people are dying every day. They're getting slaughtered. He wants to cooperate because he wants to end this war. He wants to bring an end to the war. We got to be...
Trump wants to end it too.
Well...
Trump just won the Nobel Peace Prize just the other day.
Who?
Aren't you excited about that?
Who did?
Or you're not? I mean, this man is doing a yeoman's job. And I wish the Bahamas, you could imagine the Prime Minister of the Bahamas saying he's putting Bahamians first.
Yeah,
the Bahamas is for Bahamians first.
Saying it and doing it and meaning it are two different things. So we got to take our issues out of what's happening over there, right? So yes, it is definitely a great thing to want to cut the fat. Absolutely. What you're saying is not all that's happening. Lots of people who are working were fired. Lots of people have lost their jobs. So yes, in theory, it sounds wonderful. And if they can achieve some of the things he talked about, it will be very nice. But a lot of odd things are happening while they're on this path to get there. So now we are feeling some sort of way about what's happening in the Bahamas, and you're hoping that someone would do these things here. That's clouding your judgment as to exactly what's going on over there. Yeah. And I don't know who's the we with the woke agenda thing, because nobody here was talking about anything like that today. But you mean the Americans who keep That's a totally different issue. But we need to separate the two, right? We know we have a lot of work to do here. And you're right.
If you had somebody treating the public service here the way Elon's treating the public service there,
people will be up in arms.
It'll be if some of your family too.
And they'd be
probably
carrying on even worse
Yeah.
than what you're seeing in the U.S., right? Much worse. But let's take another call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning to both of you.
Hi.
Good morning.
Yes, I did watch President Trump last night, and I will make myself very clear that some of his values I don't agree with, but a few of them I do agree with. What are one of the values that I agree with President Trump, while I don't support some of his values? He did not deceive anyone. In his campaign, he did state it, that if he got elected, what his agenda will be. And basically, he is executing that. I wish our politicians here locally can do that, rather than deceiving people, fooling people, and using people. Some did say what he is going to do when he get elected. One of his values that I agree with, that he made it clear to America that there are only two genders. That is clear, male and female. The next principle is that he make it clear that there will be no transgender compete against the ladies. And he made it clear on the illegal supporting the border. I think we need to bring him here to get our border straight. And we can also borrow a page for the Long Islanders. It seems like they are in the Bahamas, and they could protect their borders, but the rest of the Bahamas seems to be lost. So while I don't agree with everything Mr. Trump do, some of his values, there are one or two that I stated that I support him on. And he did not deceive no one. He tell you what he is going to do.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. Let's read some messages here. Good morning, Dwight. The Social Security system automatically stops paying anyone who is over 110 or maybe 115. So all that nonsense Trump spewed last night was red meat for his base and anyone dumb enough to believe him. We need a Doge in our government to see where all our money is going. The Democrats are lost. They need Governor Andrew Cuomo. What? Is this a joke? He should have been their candidate, but they let me too get in the way. Okay. Candidate for what? What are you talking about? For the president? Okay. We're going to wrap this up and get back to our own stuff here in a bit. Let me read just a few more of these. The Social Security rep said the numbers he's quoting are tallies of people over 99 who don't have a date of death. They said it does not equate to receiving checks. Donald Trump was not being truthful. I'm editing. Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. And then people, his base, are going to believe the stuff. The caller mentioned Laken Riley. I mean, she's dead, unfortunately, and the psychopath who killed her will be dealt with. But that was gonna, it's unfortunate. There are lots of people who are Americans killing people too. So it's terrible that people who are undocumented are committing crimes. We all over the world are facing those issues. Do you really believe that something is going to change here now? I mean, I have to tread lightly with that, but think about it, right? It is impossible to stop all illegal, undocumented migration.
Yeah.
And there will be not good people who get into your country. Mm-hmm. It is very likely that things will happen. Yeah. There are people who are 5th, 10th, 20th generation people in your country also committing crimes as well. We have to be very careful. That's the message there. Everybody needs to be aware and vigilant, not making excuses for this, but what exactly is this going to do? Do everything you can to prevent crime, absolutely, but let's be sensible in the conversations that we're having. This is not a panacea. It's not going to stop stuff like that from happening entirely.
And the problem with Donald Trump is in this case, in some of the cases, following through on your campaign promises ain't always a good thing. When your list has some questionable things in it.
Did he say Mars? I heard him talk about Mars too. He said,
yeah. We planting a flag on Mars and a couple other planets. He said, right?
Nice,
We're gonna so whatever that is. But this Greenland thing, it's whack. That's crazy. You know, some things and now I agree on the basis that if you make certain campaign promises, you should follow through on them.
If they're sensible. Yes.
Well, again, here we come up with very sensible ideas and things that should be put in place, right? But they're just ear candy for the people who believe that they're going to happen.
Yeah, it seems so.
The problem with Donald Trump is no matter how crazy it is, he going to make it happen.
Yeah. The crazier it is, the more likely it's going to happen, it seems. Trump's speech last night is a text. Was delusional as an economic student. We need to be prepared for an economic slowdown due to the U.S. going into a recession shortly. I need the government to stop spending on travel and focus on a domestic agenda before tourism slows down too much. That's a text. Wow. There's lots of terrible things about Elon. And but what is that caller talking about? The stock market is in the tanks. Inflation is growing after months of decline. You can tell where he only gets his news from. I don't know how the caller can use the words clear, concise, and policy when it comes to Trump. I'm not sure we're all looking at the same person or administration. That caller needs to go and watch other that goes in depth on what is going on. And what's going on under the Trump, Elon administration. Please correct that caller that Trump has not won a Nobel Peace Prize. He would love to, but he doesn't deserve it. I don't know what he's talking about. What is he? I was very confused. I know. But anyway, Trump didn't win any Peace Prize. This is the same foolishness Americans like to tell. Oh, boy. The first thing they have to do is send home those 500 retirees they hired. Talking about the Bahamas now, I guess. But I agree, the operation of our hospital is atrocious. Driving on our streets is deadly, and crime is beyond ridiculous. We'll get to that in a bit, too. When I listen to these so-called men call in to worship that person I'm editing, it's clear to me that a lot of men in this country are suffering from father hunger. What? Father hunger? Have you ever heard that before?
I've never heard that before.
Dwight, tread lightly, bay. Remember, SpaceX is here. Also, when since bullying people is okay, Elon and Trump are trying to stop SA trafficking. Is that South African? Or maybe something else. I don't know. And war. We need Trump here because we are probably paying 300-year oligarchs too, and we are full of corruption. That's much more likely to be. Anyway, these. What? Okay, I'm not gonna read that last part. That's kind of strange.
Yeah, y'all should give it a try. Let Trump run carte blanche around here for a year.
Well.
See what you'll have left.
Well, he would do it in 2 months. Dwight, didn't Laverne tell you to relax about Trump? Yep, she did. Could Bahamians please educate themselves? The salaries of the federal government makes up 6% of the total budget, but the salaries of employees make up some 75% of the Bahamas budget. This should be a panic. All right. So in his speech, he spoke of thousands of U.S. people who died building the Panama Canal. Apparently, surprise, more lies, approximately 5,900 people died building the Panama Canal, of which 350 were U.S. citizens. The majority of the people who died were Afro-Caribbeans. Any Bahamian supporting Trump should be ashamed. Wow.
What's crazy about Trump is he doubles down on his misinformation.
But he says it in a way that's very convincing, and people believe everything he says.
It's crazy.
It's very interesting.
When people call him out,
real charisma.
I don't know what that is.
Panama Canal. Thank you for reminding me. Dexter, he said they're getting that back. They're taking that back.
Well, apparently, BlackRock bought some. There was some article. Bought some shares in.
So Panama, Greenland, all these places need to be ready, I guess. Be ready. We need to focus on growing our own products and stop depending on other countries to supply our needs. That's a text. The way people hate Trump truly opens my eyes to people. He's stopping trans from competing with women. Okay, that's great. I think that's most people can agree that is something that should never have happened.
Well, I think we should balance what we agree with and what we don't agree with. Maybe, I don't know, because
they're losing it.
What is this hate Trump thing? Nobody said we hate him.
Well, SA trafficking. What is it? What am I missing?
SA? Is it South African?
I don't know. Illegal invasions and corruption. You're all mad at it. No, not those parts. Not those parts. Not those parts. Tell Chester I would love Trump and the U.S. to annex the Bahamas like they will do Greenland.
That must be a troll.
At least Trump is saying America first, as opposed to our prime minister, who's saying that he, who I'm editing this, who loves Haitians. Okay. Father hunger is a desire to be affirmed, approved, known, understood, and loved by one's paternal parent, and to grow up with a sense of strength and authority.
That's like a real thing? Like a medical term or something? Psychology term?
Wow. Okay. Let's take these final calls and we got to move on. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning to you and Chester.
Good morning.
In reference to him sending the workers home, doesn't that put so when these people get sent home, doesn't they go back for unemployment benefits or something like that? I mean, does it balance out to that extent?
Probably, and raise the unemployment rate.
I don't know if it'll balance.
What do you mean? What do you mean balance? I mean, it will come back to be a problem.
They ain't gonna be getting paid the same thing on unemployment, but
that's what he meant? No.
No.
It's going to. It's definitely no. Wow, but yeah. Let's take another call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Dwight, 2 points. We should not dismiss the statement made by Cleaver Duncanson concerning the need for the Auditor General to be properly funded.
Nobody dismissed that part.
Big pardon?
Nobody dismissed that part.
No, because but I'm saying if you understand the concept of the Auditor General and the PAC, to have it separated so that it can have the bite it needs. It is actually the intent of those two were to be a Dodge-type environment. The problem is that the Auditor General should have been in every single ministry in real time doing audits and investigations. The problem is that they have probably not even a tenth of the or staff that is needed, and we see the emasculation of the PAC. And so if we are to fix our country the way we want it, those are two things that have to be agreed to in principle. The statement that Chester made in regards to BlackRock, it is something that we have to give some credence to an understanding with the acquisition. There's 8 ports in this area that's controlled by C.K. Hutchison. 2 is in California, 2 is in Mexico, 2 is in Panama. And those are now coming under control of under BlackRock. But the question is that the other 2, you know where the other 2 is located, right?
No.
Freeport.
Okay.
And so we have to look at that particular thing. And then ending, Dwight, we can control our immigration using technology. And I've talked about this for years concerning digitization of our ID system. And the fact that integrated into immigration would also, into the work database, would also eliminate the attraction of being able to work in the underclass situation, because essentially by offering the reward system that is also built into our system, supposed to be for the whistleblower, you would make almost every person who works in the Bahamas legally, you would actually deputize them digitally to become officers. Because if somebody Dwight, I'm working with you, and I don't have a work permit or a proper documentation, you call in, they fine the company, and guess what, Dwight? 20%. So if they fine them $5,000 a grand, fine them $10,000, you get $2,000. Everybody would be involved in that. And so we're small enough demographic, 250,000 workforce, or whatever amount you want to use. It's under 500,000 people. We can do this. And, like you said, Dwight, if you have ants coming into the house for the syrup on your table, what do? Remove the syrup. And so, the fact is that we need digitization for our economy to grow. In light of these things that's happening, these tariffs, the only way to combat what is happening there as well as inflation is to do what, right? Grow the personal economy of people. Where's the strategy to do that?
Yeah.
That's easier to do than actually trying to get the world to reduce their prices for us. Thank you so much.
Well, don't hold your breath for that one with these folks. We'll take one more call, and we have to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
Good morning, Chester.
Good morning.
So I tell that Chester, I love Donald Trump. Strong leader. Love America. Make America great again. And the Canadians, they can afford to try and cut off the American oil. Trump said he's going to drill. Trump said he got more oil than anybody in the world. See, Trump is a strong leader, Dwight. See, a lot of people, they don't read. There's people talk about the garbage. Trump never talk bad about the Bahamas, no, Dwight. Trump like Bahamas. But Elon Musk is correct what he's doing. All these civil servants who like checking out, and them parliamentarians who getting paid and don't declare, man, we did the same thing happen over here. And I agree with my boys, Lieber Duncan. Thanks for taking my call, no better.
Okay, thanks a lot. He also said he got out of the corrupt. Which one was it corrupt? The WTO or the WHO? But everything is bad.
Everything was bad.
Bad, yeah. So WTO, WHO, the Paris Climate Agreement, all horrible. And so, hey.
Anything would just let us need to go.
But what will this mean for the Bahamas, right? Climate change and the impact that's going to have if all the countries, the big countries that are causing the problems, back out of that. Because I'm sure others are going to say, well, if they're not in it, we're not in it. What will that mean for us? Right. And the efforts that we're trying to do, will that just be like, we're not interested in your carbon credits anymore, Bahamas? Is that what we're going to hear?
Maybe. I mean, because if the U.S. is like, we're going to create an oil glut and start some carbohydrates pumping again.
What a world. That's will be the largest watery theme park, the whole country. Yep. Hey, we got to take a break. We'll get back to this and more of what's making news on this Wednesday morning. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
You're wondering why half his clothes went missing. My body's where they're at. Now I'm gone, but you're still laying next to me. 1 degree of separation. I heard you're back together, and if that's true, you'll just have to taste me when he's kissing you. If you want forever, I bet you do. Just know you'll taste me too. He pins you down on the carpet, makes paintings with his tongue. He's funny now, all his jokes hit different. Guess who we learned that from?
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
got your first look at traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. Find your loan solution with RBC. And in your real-time traffic, as usual, Miles Butler Highway, seeing some heavy traffic from well south of the Fire Trail roundabout straight up to Tonic Williams-Darling Highway in the northbound lanes there. Carmichael is seeing some slow-moving eastbound traffic just east of Fire Trail on your way to Blue Hill Road. And Blue Hill Road is busy for you from St. Vincent straight up to the roundabout with Independence Drive. Independence Drive, heavy westbound traffic at this hour. And we're seeing some slow-moving traffic on Tonic Williams-Darling Highway westbound, just west of that intersection with Independence Drive on the way to Bahamas Games Boulevard. Slow-moving eastbound traffic there as well. Then there's Robinson Road. You're parked from Soldier straight up to Marathon if you're heading westbound. And Prince Charles Drive, the major intersection, is also seeing some heavy traffic right now. Eastern Road, as usual, from San Souci straight up to Johnson Road. That's slow-moving westbound traffic at this hour. That's what we're seeing right now. We'll have another update for you after the 8 o'clock news. Morning Blend Traffic brought to you by RBC. Start a conversation at rbc.com/loan/all of you. And time for another check of your weather, brought to you by the 2025 CONCACAF Beach Soccer Championships here in Nassau next week. Here's what's happening. We've got a high-pressure ridge along with a tight-pressure gradient that continues to produce fresh to strong winds and rough seas across the northern and northwest Bahamas and light to moderate breezes in the central and southeastern islands. In fact, a near-gale warning remains in effect for the northern Bahamas for today. A cold is expected to move into the northern Bahamas by tonight. That's going to bring showers and thunderstorms. That frontal boundary is then going to quickly move through to the southeastern part of the country, leaving the Bahamas by Friday morning. Winds behind the front will once again become stronger, but by Friday, windy conditions will subside, but rough seas will continue, especially Atlantic coastal areas through Saturday. Beachgoers should avoid entering northern, eastern, and Atlantic exposed waters of the northern and northwest Bahamas due to the high risk of rip currents and rough surf over the next few days. For today, for most areas, partly cloudy and windy, and increasing chance of rain for the northern islands by this evening as that front moves through. Temperatures today around 79, 80 Fahrenheit, about 26 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 75, 76 Celsius, about 25 Celsius. 75 to 76 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. In your extended outlook for tomorrow, Thursday, partly sunny with cloudy intervals with that front moving through, becoming mostly fair and mild at night, a 30% chance of isolated showers. By Friday, a mix of sun and clouds during the day, becoming mostly fair at night. And by Saturday, partly sunny, becoming fair at night. High temperatures back in the 80s. In fact, the mid-80s by Sunday. Don't forget, we spring forward for daylight saving time this weekend. That's your Morning Blend weather, brought to you by the 2025 CONCACAF Beach Soccer Championships at Malcolm Park Beach Soccer Stadium. March 11th through 16th, right here in Nassau. Watch the Junkanoo boys take on top teams like Panama and the United States. It's free to attend. Come out and support your team. March 11th through 16th.
Bahamas, are you ready? The world is coming to Wasan for the 2025 CONCACAF Beach Soccer World Cup qualifiers. March 11 through 16 at the Beach Soccer Stadium next to the Sydney Poitier Bridge. The Junkanoo Beach Boys, top 5 in CONCACAF, taking on Mexico, USA, and El Salvador. Beach party meets world-class soccer, non-stop action, Junkanoo rhythms, great food, and pure vibes. And it's free. Bring your crew, ring your cowbells, beat your drums, no whistles. March 11 through 16 at the Beach Soccer Stadium. Visit BahamasFA.net for details. Bahamas Beach Soccer, pure vibes.
Spain sounds like this. But with a little Caribbean, it can sound like this. The world needs more Caribbean. And with FedEx, you can ship your products to every corner. With increased cargo capabilities, 24/7 shipment tracking, and shipping tools, take your business worldwide and enjoy life a bit more like us.
Heed the call to action against abuse and violence and for hope and healing. Join Women Walk 2025, Saturday, March 8th at 9 a.m., Clifford Park. Come, walk, pray, wear purple or white. Stand up for a strong, healthy community. A free event, Saturday, March 8th at 9 a.m.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the know-how team at 396-1101.
Bahamas. Join Sherwin Gardner for the Find Me Here album launch on February 28th, 7 p.m. at Bahamas Harvest Church, JFK Plaza. Featuring from the USA, Kalante Gavin and Kateri B, and Positive from TNT. This will be one epic night full of blessings. Get tickets at a live events app or Bahamas Harvest Church and SherwinGardner.com. A blessing's gonna find you here. Powered by Alive.
RBC. Life is full of twists, turns, and defining moments that create your own unique story. However your story unfolds, we're here to help guide you through it. From every big decision to every new adventure, RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
Oh, I leave quite an impression. 5 feet to be exact. You're wondering why half is closed when missing my body's where they're at. Now I'm gone, but you're still laying next to me. 1 degree of separation. I heard you're back together, and if that's true, you'll just have to taste me when he's kissing you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
It can't be said I'm an early bird. It's 10 o'clock before I say a word. Baby, I can never tell. How do you sleep so well? You keep telling me to live right, to go to bed before the daylight, but then you wake up for the sun to rise. You know you don't gotta pretend, baby, now and then. Don't you just wanna wake up, dark as a lake, smelling like a bonfire, lost in the haze. If you're drunk on life, babe, I think it's great, but while in this world, I think I'll take my whiskey and leave.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards on this Wednesday morning. Coming up, we're going to be talking about International Women's Day, just a few days away. And later in business, we're talking about trade opportunities with Canada. But we continue right now with what's in the news. And so you heard about this yesterday. 2 separate traffic accidents, fatal traffic accidents. Just very, very sad stories here. So this is an article from the Tribune. 2 people were killed in separate traffic accidents, bringing the country's road fatality count for the year to 11. In the second incident, Chief Superintendent Sabrina Porter, head of the okay, where did that go? Well, go where it says it was going to go.
You got the wrong jump
I
page?
don't know what's happening. Where's the story?
Down there. 2 killed?
Okay, so somebody's got some issues. Page 5, but it's really page 3. Okay, head of the traffic division said police received a report of a crash on Prince Charles Drive near the Seventh Adventist Church shortly before 7 p.m. Officers arrived to find a white Toyota had crashed into a lamp pole. Porter said speed may have been a factor in that accident. Well, without a doubt, speed was a factor. Did you see the picture of that car?
I just saw the picture.
My God. Well, if it wasn't speed, then someone picked up the car and threw it, because that doesn't make, because it had to be speed. And don't mean to make light of the situation. Somebody did die here, but this is, come on now. The jaws of life had to be used to free the lone male driver who was trapped inside the vehicle. EMS responded and pronounced him dead at the scene. As a result of the crash, streetlights in the area were out. In the first incident earlier in the day, a woman died in Pinewood Gardens after 2 vehicles collided and crashed into a wall. Porter said police received reports of the crash shortly before 3 p.m. It occurred at the intersection of Sapodilla Boulevard and Thatch Palm Avenue and involved a black Toyota and a black Nissan Cube. According to police, the Toyota was heading east on Sapodilla Boulevard while the Nissan Cube was traveling north on Thatch Palm Avenue. The vehicles collided at the intersection before crashing into a wall, sustaining extensive damage. The Cube, driven by a woman, collided into the wall. She was ejected from the driver's seat to the passenger side. Is that how we would put that? I don't think that's how we would say that, but that's according to the police. Okay, that's not how you would say that at all. But she was partially outside the vehicle.
But not ejected from the vehicle.
Okay, that's not, anyway, okay. Anyway, EMS responded and pronounced her dead at the scene. The driver of the Toyota received minor injuries and was taken to the hospital for treatment.
Wow.
All right, so every day you hear somebody here.
11 for the year.
Yeah, it's just the beginning of March. Every day on this station, people are talking about the chaos we're seeing on the streets, the driving. It's getting worse. People are discourteous. People are rude. People are insane. They're not signaling. I don't know if they think there's VAT on using the turn signal. There isn't, as far as I know. There's no taxes. Use it. Use it. We don't know what you're doing. You just can't decide, oh, this car is doing foolishness, I'm going to that lane. It doesn't make any sense. And people aren't stopping at stop signs. People are turning left on red and doing any manner of things, anything they want.
Or they come in fast into the corner and stopping with their mouth out in the street, causing some cars like to panic and swerve. And like they I don't understand.
Sticking their whole front end out into the
trying to
major
bully themselves their way into the road.
Every and anything you can think of is going on.
Yep.
And again, we say all these cameras out there, what are we using them for? People are terrorists on our streets, and they're getting away with any and everything they do.
I saw a taxi driver right by Grace Community. It was traffic in the morning, flying up the wrong side of the street to get to Marathon Road. And I said to myself, well, I hope a police turn to this corner. Never around.
Never around when you see the craziest things. But again, the cameras are everywhere.
Yeah.
So what's happening? Yeah. As we figured out with the accident on the weekend, only after the fact do they go and look back to see what happened. There's nobody actively monitoring these scenes who can say, wow, that person has to be stopped.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do, folks? Let's talk about it. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Obviously, with that accident at the intersection, somebody ran a light or ran through the intersection. Somebody didn't stop. Somebody sped through there. And what is going to happen now?
There's a camera from a building in Palmdale, and somebody did a compilation over I don't know how many, and I mean the amount of accidents that were at that intersection was crazy, and people blowing through the stop sign, as if it ain't there, and you could see the stop sign there in the videos.
Which intersection is it? Yeah.
So it's I don't ever remember what this says. Montrose. What is that?
Okay.
We're not gonna,
well, which one?
It's not Montrose.
The one where
Rosetta Street. Maybe it's Rosetta Street.
Wait, now because it's either Mount Royal or Montrose, the northbound.
The little two main roads.
So east. Okay, so Rosetta Street or Madeira Street.
Whatever the one is.
What's
between
on the street
two.
that you're talking about?
So it's with the entrance to Wendy's, they're off of
the in between one.
Yeah, the in between road.
Palmdale something.
So
that intersection
by Liquid Courage, the intersection where Liquid Courage is, and the little
accidents
middle road, a ton of them.
Really,
a ton of them. But again, people just going straight across that street.
Oh, that's crazy.
They don't stop.
That doesn't make any sense.
Because that's what we do here. That's how we drive.
I've never seen that before.
If I find the video again, I mean,
those people need to be dealt with. I mean, to the fullest extent of the law.
And are we dealt with to the fullest extent of the law? Or, because they clearly continue to drive like this.
We told you there's stories. People say they get hit by somebody who doesn't have a license and doesn't have insurance, and the police will come to the scene, and that person is not taken away in cuffs because you should be, right? What are you doing? You don't have a driver's license. Yeah. You're not even on this car's insurance. The car has no insurance. Right. And while we're going to investigate, we'll get the report in 6 weeks. No. You need to take that person away.
Yeah.
But it never happens, it seems. And everybody does whatever they want in their disposable cars.
Inside, I see this happen a lot, and 1,000 people work at Bahama. But inside Bahama, if you're driving up to SLS, right? So people come in from the main road, and there's a stop sign there. There's 3 stop signs, or 4. Mm-hmm. There's a 4-way stop. But they don't stop when they're coming in, right? Wow. So if you stop, and you let a car go, and then it's your turn, it's supposed to be your turn to go, these people just coming, making a left. Yeah. And again, this left turn thing.
I'm telling you, it has to stop until there's a better education program, which we know that's not going to happen, right? This cannot be allowed to continue.
Yeah.
It cannot. Yeah. Just unbelievable. This person says that we need special traffic cops to traverse our streets. We have them. Don't we have them? Too many untimely accidents, okay, and deaths. Some people need to be patient driving on our streets 21/7. Well, it's more than just patience, right? Some people are intentionally breaking the law. Yeah. And you know, you could be doing 10 miles per hour, but if you're breaking the law, you're still going to be a danger to people.
Yeah.
And it's...
And these motorcyclists who going up the middle of the street honking their horn as if you should be looking out for them, you need to stay in traffic.
And weaving between cars on a 2-lane road is... it's insane. We have a good number of people who are disabled who would love the job of monitoring the street cameras for the police.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Okay. I am literally having to stay in a heightened state of consciousness while driving. I drove a taxi, but I do follow the rules of the road.
Thank God for you.
One of the few.
Right?
My goodness. I'm always on the defense when I'm driving. Too many crazy drivers, especially the ones in those small Japanese cars. Wow. This person says the problem is many of our police officers are goodness gracious. Okay. If you tell them about someone drinking while driving, smoking marijuana while driving, or driving erratically, they will look at you like you're crazy. The new commissioner has okay. This is a serious claim here. But anyway, editing needs to move away from the failed manpower policies of the former commissioner. Okay. Well, no driver's license, no insurance, unregistered person almost killed my family, but they were let go without ever being seen again. Wow. And many of those people have killed people before. Yeah, sure. It's a slap on the wrist. This person says, can't you all handle the truth? They have a driver's license, but they clearly bought it. No, many of them don't have driver's licenses, even right? So some have bought, and many don't even care to buy. They just don't care.
What do the police do about these kids? There's clearly kids on motorcycles that have no license plates. Because a ton of them on the road.
No license plates, no helmets. They're 12. Everything. Middle of the day.
Yeah.
2 of them.
Yeah.
Driving by the school. They don't even speak English. As a texter, too many are on the road. Clearly, they didn't do any tests and are new to our roads. It's a serious problem causing fatalities every day.
Interesting.
Okay. I'm sure that is a problem, but it's not just them, as you said. Who's in charge of synchronizing these traffic lights? The traffic lights need to be adjusted, especially on Prince Charles Drive. Yes, very much so. Not only don't they take them away in cuffs, it appears if they go to court, they are out and about not paying what the court ordered. Yeah, that's true. I've heard that story before as well. They definitely will not fix your vehicle. They're not going to do anything. And they knock down the street lights and the poles.
Who knows who fixes?
Nobody fixes them. They're down for years. If they're ever put back up.
I would like to find out from Bahamas National Trust who keep fixing their wall, because I doubt it's the person who knocked it down.
Oh,
that's our favorite spot.
I mean, that was clear that was going to happen, though. I mean, this is not going to be up for very long. It's like every time you drive by, like it's only a matter of time before this wall. So it has happened. Oh, okay. Well, interesting. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Let's take this call, and you can get your calls in really quickly. We're running out of time. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing well.
One of your guests too.
Morning.
That's what I heard you just say. The little guys on the motorbike passing the schools and they didn't even speak English.
We didn't say that part, but they.
I heard you said that. Don't you play that tape?
No, he was reading. He was reading something. I don't know.
No, it's many different things. They're saying people who are driving don't have driver's licenses. Clearly,
no, I mean the little boys on the motorbike.
No, we're saying that they don't have helmets and they're riding around.
He just didn't take a breath after he said that when he went to another point.
He's reading.
Yeah, he's reading something.
I go on to say, Dwight, you finally seen the vision. You finally seen what's happening. You finally seen it. Already.
Boy.
No, I'm
He
speechless.
was waiting. He was waiting for you.
So what do you think that means? There are a bunch of little non-English speaking children just riding around on motorbikes all day long, terrorizing the streets. That's what you think?
were saying.
Yeah, yeah.
But apparently he thinks it's true.
Okay. Well, I mean, we got everything else, so you might as well have that too, I guess. Good morning. You're on the air.
Right, you're settling. I thought you were one. I know you were one being optimistic, but you're settling in now.
You're happy about it?
No,
You sound like, yes, he's now on our side.
I'm losing you. I really had you up there. But
There's only so much you can take.
Yeah, boy, it looked like it's getting to you, but don't let it get to you, man. Dwight, I tell you, you see, we often try to determine whether it's the system or is it the person's running the system. And I'm trying to distinguish between, because the lack of enforcement of the law is really what we're facing right here. And like I said a long time ago, nobody knows that moment when you fall asleep, and nobody can tell you that exact moment when they awake. But I feel as though that the Bahamas need to realize that they are asleep. And somebody got to tap us on the shoulder and wake us up, because I think it's the system. And the persons who are running the system, once they dip their finger in the system, they got poisoned by it. The rest minister system. Think about it.
Well, no, that isn't it. But this system that we are doing, yes, it's both. The system breeds the people who want to be in the system, and that corrupts the people.
Oh, that's what it
It's
is.
back and forth. It's both chicken and egg situation. We were talking about eggs a lot this
wait,
week.
No, stop now.
Mm,
Right.
mm.
Now, when it comes to chicken and the egg, let me tell you which was first, so, and you would agree. It was the bird that laid the egg.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a chicken then, okay?
Okay. All right. Good to know. Thank you very much. Wow. As we get ready to go to the break, this person says here, the parents are the ones buying these motorcycles for these underage people. Well, sometimes. And sometimes these folks are earning their money through God knows what means. And pulling up in the parents' yard with it.
I say this Mikey.
Yeah, boy. When I was in high school, they had a driver's ed class. I got my permit, and it positioned me to get my driver's license. I learned defensive driving.
Please don't wake this
and
up
how to
in Dwight.
respect other drivers on the road. Which school did you go to? See, this is a 502. What area code is that? Also, which school did you go to? Because this is the problem right here.
American.
Can you look that up while I read
High.
the other text messages? We desperately need that here. Mandatory. I keep saying it. Until you take this class, you're not allowed to graduate. And that would definitely turn some things around. Dwight, is there any plan
Kentucky?
to... That's what 502 is? Text her, please. Please. But we appreciate it.
That don't mean that they went to school.
Okay. What do you think? Is there any plan to defend us against the ear-splitting motorcycle riders who terrorize communities daily? I'm sure many people who are not in any form of governance have a plan for it, but the people who are your elected leaders certainly don't. MPs' disclosures could not be entertained or processed because the office is inoperable. So where's that coming from?
The newspaper?
I don't know what's happening.
Moldy office?
Oh, the person says it was LW Young. Really? What year was that?
Wow.
What year was
60s?
that? Anyway. Okay. Well, we condolences to the families of all the folks who lost their lives yesterday, but we've got to do better. We've got to do better. Every morning on my way here, I see the most nonsense, and every day when I leave here, it's even worse and so unnecessary, so insane, and people are very happy to do what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They know that there are no consequences. And nobody cares.
And they look blankly at you as they do their foolishness.
Blankly? They look like they want to do something to you.
That's true.
Because what, you have a problem with me? Yeah, you nearly killed all of us. And they're like, okay, well, how about I really do it now? And like, okay. Ah, boy. LW Young, 1983.
83, okay.
Oh, man. Well, it's like...
You wouldn't learn to drive at LW Young anymore.
I'm going to reserve my commentary here. That was great. Good old days, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Let's go to the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
You're too sweet for me. I take my whiskey neat, my coffee black and my bed at 3. You're too sweet for me. You're too sweet for me.
Here's a price list of some of the roofing material we carry at Pinder Enterprises. 5/8 pressure-treated roofing ply starting at $36.68. Gray Select Water Shield, $134.20 a roll. Felt, 15 pounds, $16.50. 30 pound, $19.80. Owens, Corning Duration Shingles, and Certainty Landmark Shingles, $56.56 a bundle. Gallon of roof cement, $33.47. All sizes treated dimensional lumber. And of course, we have all nails and all screws. We have 5/8 sheetrock, $28.76. Half-inch sheetrock, $22.18. All prices include VAT.
Are you ready to elevate your day with a burst of flavor? Look no further than Dunkin', your ultimate destination for everything delicious. From our freshly brewed coffee that is sure to pick you up, to our signature frozen beverages that will cool you down. And don't forget our mouth-watering sandwiches, made to order all day. Dunkin' has it all. And of course, our lineup of fresh donuts, muffins, and more. Dive into a world of yummy flavors at Dunkin' and bring joy to your day. The Bahamas runs on Dunkin'.
With escalating global conflicts, are you ready for what's next? Join us at RF Bahamas Economic Outlook on March 12th at Bahamar, where top global and local experts will break down the key economic, political, and social trends shaping our future. Hear from Admiral Mike Rogers, former head of U.S. Cyber Command, and more. Plus, gain CPD credits, powerful insights, and high-impact networking all in one day. Don't miss out. Secure your spot now at rfbeo.com. That's rfbeo.com. RF Bahamas Economic Outlook. See you there.
Here's the sure-winning art store moment from Shelley and Dee Dee.
We're the only full art store in the Bahamas. If we don't have it,
We make a list, and trust me, our boss can get that. If you need that, he can get that. You can find sketchbooks, acrylics, the canvases in all sizes, stencils. We have the Angelus that they use on shoes and letters. We're the only persons in Nassau that carries the Montana spray. We have the Krylon sprays, watercolor and paints, the oil, chalk paints, the alcohol paint, metallic paints, the little Floetrol, and we have cleaning products for the artists, thinning products for the artists, and Crayola colors, and glitters, pencils, the Posca markers, and pastels, oil, and the acrylic pastels, dyes. Oh yeah, we also have airbrush paint. I didn't forget that part of the movie. Gift sets, hobby craft,
Oil shrimp,
clays.
stew shrimp, shrimp gumbo. But art supplies. We have a lot of them. Sherwin-Williams Art Store. Find colour in every day.
All those loans I had were so overwhelming. Fidelity's debt consolidation loan combined all my loan payments into one easy payment with a built-in savings plan that pays me unbeatable interest. It's time to make that move to Fidelity. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
What if I told you Wendy's has a new burger? With a flavor so secret, it's almost too delicious to handle. Well, now it's time to unlock that flavor. Try the new sweet and smoky barbecue cheeseburger. We can't tell you everything, but we can tell you that it's packed with flavor, including our secret barbecue sauce. Try the new sweet and smoky barbecue cheeseburger today. Available for a limited time.
Wake up.
Woman, I can hardly express my mixed emotions and my thoughtlessness. After all, I'm forever in your debt. And woman,
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong along with Chester Robards. International Women's Day coming up this Saturday, right? March 8th. And there's the International Women's Day March and Expo and a whole lot going on. Equality Bahamas is here with us this morning. We have Alicia Wallace and Claire Ayoub. Great to have you with us. Good morning.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, so we'll get to the events, but let's talk about International Women's Day and why this is important.
International Women's Day. Every year we hear about the themes that are coming out of the United Nations as well as internationalwomensday.com. And the one from internationalwomensday.com is Accelerate Action, which is a really interesting one. That's the one that's super catchy, and you'll see people doing these hand symbols to symbolize the acceleration of action. And this one is particularly relevant to us here because we do not see any acceleration on action. It's just stagnant. And we've been talking about the same things over and over again, criminalizing marital rape, passing the gender-based violence bill, and this administration, as well as previous administrations, just keep playing in faces, right? Dangling it in front of us, saying, yeah, let's talk about it. We're going to do it. And then they switch entirely over to something else. The United Nations has a different theme, which is about all women. And you'll notice that they have all in capital letters, which is quite interesting. At the United Nations, when we're working on declarations and outcome documents, there's a lot of conversation around the language of women and all of our diversity. And that's usually where states kind of go back and forth about whether or not they'll accept this language. And it looks like the UN is shifting to this all, an emphasis on all, to ensure that we're not just talking about women who are doing well and in the workplace, the women that, people call into the show to talk about all the time. But we're also talking about women who are experiencing poverty, women who are migrants, women who are LGBTQ, women who are rural, for us, the women who are in the family islands. We're thinking about all of these different women and their different experiences and needs and making sure that we're meeting them and not just the average woman who everyone kind of imagines.
Right. Okay. So that's important because as we were talking off here, people will say, especially in a country like the Bahamas, where it seems that women are achieving great success. And so why are these days important when women are at the top in their industries? So explain some more about why we have to think about not just those people who are doing well.
Absolutely. I mean, a world that is safe for women and equitable for women is better for everybody, right? And especially, as Alicia was saying, at all levels. It's so important. And I'm a filmmaker. I'm from the U.S., and I've been following the work of Equality Bahamas for years and just love what you're doing here because it's standing up, especially when people push back and say, why would you want more, right? You're doing well in these spaces. We can always be doing better. And just because you have one person who is in a position of power, that's a silo, right? That's one person. And setting a tone for others, for young people to say, I can do that, right? It's the great quote, like, you can't be what you can't see, is one of my favorite quotes to look at, is saying, setting that tone. And instead of saying, I did it because of my gender, it's saying, I did it because of who I am, because of how I walk through the world, because of how I care for my neighbors, how I care for my community, and really raising people up that way. And I think gender can be such a roadblock that's really frustrating that you have to fight. You have to be the perfect woman in that space or the perfect leader. You almost have to put your gender behind. And looking at that, women being caregivers in a community, that's a soft skill that's really important. That's a powerful skill, right? Of people who bring empathy to the table, who are really caring for all women, for all people in that case. And especially looking at how many people, even with those caregiver skills, they are people who take care of their whole community, who put their community ahead of them. Those are skills that are really important too.
Yeah. All right. So you mentioned marital rape. We know this is one of those issues that we've been back and forth on for so long now. What does it say that we haven't resolved this issue as yet? And that so many are saying that we don't need to let the couple work this out. This doesn't have to go. We don't need to make this a law or criminalize it. What do you say to folks who are like, stay out of people's marital business?
The government and the public discourse is really showing us that there is a lack of care for women in general. And actually at Equality Bahamas, we're having conversations about marriage and what is the purpose of marriage and what are the consequences of marriage and does it even make sense for women to get married if that means that legally your spouse can rape you, if that means that you cannot pass on your citizenship to your children, then is it better to just stay unmarried and do what everyone keeps saying they don't want us to do, which is to live in sin? Maybe that's the better option for us, actually.
The safer option, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the marital rape bill has been sitting since 2023. And it is a vast improvement on the 2018 bill. The 2018 bill was terrible. The 2023 one actually strikes out those 5 words, who is not his spouse, removing the marital exception on the issue of rape and the definition of rape. It also adds the definition of consent, which we've been asking for, the statutory definition of consent. And the one thing that we really want to see added to that is the clause of non-immunity that makes it very clear that marriage is not an excuse or a defense for the act of rape. And this administration actually put that to the side on the gender-based violence bill, or trying to distract us with the gender-based violence bill, only to shift gears entirely and abandon that bill too, only to pass the Protection Against Violence bill, which does not do what the gender-based violence bill was drafted to do.
So what happens now? We just seem to be in limbo or spinning. What do you do? What do we do?
Based on what we've seen and what we've heard, especially from the Prime Minister, it looks like this administration has no plan to move this forward. So we have to call on women and the people who love women to stand up and to say that this is not acceptable and really make this an issue for the next election. I think it has really been framed and sold to us as a pitfall or as a negative, right? That if somebody does this, it means that they won't get back in. And we need to make it clear that this is something that we are prepared to make an issue, and this is a reason for us to vote or to not vote for a particular party. And a lot of times you only hear the naysayers. You only hear people who are against rights speak up. The people who actually agree with us aren't the people who call in. They aren't the people who send the text messages. They aren't the people who are writing in letters to the editor, right? We need to get louder, those of us who are in support of rights and of human rights.
And I think what Alicia just said too is it's not just for women to be the ones speaking, right? It's for people who love women, who want them to be safe. It's not that when a door closes, you're no longer accessible by the law, right? It's looking at that. So using your voice to say, this kind of action is not normal, and making sure that I think it can be such a taboo topic to talk about, and then people don't want to talk about it because it's not nice, right? It's not a nice thing to talk about, when in reality, again, coming back to all women, right? How do we protect our communities? How do we protect everyone as if they were our daughter, right? Yeah. Really important.
Yeah. All right, so I don't want this to become a marital rape discussion because that'll take up the whole show, right? But we do have this text here, and this seems to be always the concern. How do you protect men from false accusations?
Yeah, this is a really fun one because you can be falsely accused of any crime, and it doesn't mean that we don't have laws. There are laws in place to handle false accusations, and that's it. We don't need anything special.
Also, I think looking at the statistics of false accusations versus actual accusations, it's so much smaller.
Especially in terms of marital.
I was going to say, right? It's so much smaller. Yeah. And looking at that is really important to say because it comes from a fear of someone's life being ruined, right? That's always what we hear. What if it ruins the life of a man? But you look at it, someone's life is already being ruined by being taken advantage of, by being harmed. So it's also looking at that and stepping back and going, let's look at the whole case and let's look at proof. Right? Let's look at what our families say. Let's listen to the woman who's coming forward and saying, I was harmed in my home and I'm not safe here. Right?
So we've heard this. People say, well, since so few people make this accusation, why even have a law against it? What do you say to folks who say that?
Honestly, shame is a hell of a drug, right? Shame is very powerful in keeping people from speaking out. So just because people aren't talking about it doesn't mean it's not happening. And because it happens behind closed doors, it is a very silent killer, right? Is a silent harm. But feel free to take it away, Alicia.
Yeah, we also can't give you statistics on reports of something that's not a crime.
Right?
Where are we going to get them from?
Yeah. And even if it's only one person or two people.
Even if it's only one.
That's too many.
That is still too many. And it's protecting, it's also protecting future generations, right? It's looking at this and it can be so hard to see when you're so close to it. Step back and go, future generations, do we want our kids to be safe in their marital homes? Do we want, or again, for those rights to be eliminated as soon as they close the door? That I think looking at that and saying, what do we want for our future, right? What do we want as well as for now, as well as for previous generations that didn't even have a space like this to talk about it, right? We look at the generations before us that it was just expected, don't talk about it, it's not nice. And those people have been living in a harmed space and have been hurt by this. So how can we do better for the future and for past generations to say, I didn't struggle and speak out for nothing?
How do you continue to approach the conversation with groups? I mean, we got an election coming up. We got one group saying, yeah, we definitely going to look at this. But again, history tells you maybe not. How do you continue to approach those conversations?
We are doing our best to meet with these people who want to be leaders, right? Or who present themselves as leaders. And it's really funny that they don't want to talk. They are too afraid, apparently, to even have the conversation and to face an argument that isn't the same as their own or the ones that they're trying to sell to other people. And, we have to challenge them to rise to the occasion. If you really believe this, then let's have a conversation about it. Let's have a conversation about the law and how it works. Let's have a conversation about the Bahamas and its relationships to other countries and the way that we want to exist as a sovereign nation, as a UN member state, and the kinds of engagement that we want to be having with other member states. And all of the declarations, all of the conventions that the Bahamas has already signed on to. We know that we ratified CEDAW in 1993. We participate in the Universal Periodic Review. The Bahamas is to get a seat on the Human Rights Council. And for what? To not uphold obligations? Why were these documents signed? Why were these conventions ratified if no one is prepared to actually step up and make the necessary changes so that we come into full compliance? These are real conversations that we have to have. And one of the things that we're bringing back, we started this in 2020, is the process where we develop feminist standards for governance. So we know that, the PLP always brings their charter, the FNM brings their manifesto, all these other parties bring their whatever dream selling material. It's time for us to put together our own manifesto, charter, agenda, the things that we as a people want. So we are continuing that process. We'll be doing that right after International Women's Day. We'll be picking that back up, looking at some main areas like health, education, economy, climate and the environment, youth, looking in these categories and asking people, what are the issues that you see? What is really the root of the problem? Who is responsible for fixing this? And what are the steps that we need to take? And then coming up with some clear recommendations. We'll be packaging this and it'll be on us. We have to sell that to the political parties and say, you want our vote, then this is the level that you need to rise to.
Yeah. We're talking with Alicia Wallace and Claire Ayub, representing Equality Bahamas, talking about International Women's Day. This text here, I heard your list of things to support women, but why does it always appear that the loudest outcry is about the marital rape issue and LGBT rights over poverty for women and children and safe spaces for these individuals? I'm asking as a woman who has an open mind. That's the text.
Yeah, we're not tiering issues, right? We're not creating a hierarchy of needs here. Marital rape comes up a lot because it has been promised over and over again. And we have bills that have been presented again and again and abandoned. So we have to keep talking about it. And also because it is such a basic right to be able to give consent and to withhold consent. And it is such a fundamental issue that we're saying when you marry, you become the property of your spouse. And in particular, let's be real, we're saying that women become the property of the men that they marry. And this is fundamental. This is a foundational issue with gender and gender ideology and the way that we look at women and men in society. It's really a key issue for us to address. We're also working on the issue of women experiencing poverty. We're looking at equal pay for work of equal value. We're looking at a lot of different issues. But again, I want to remind people, Equality Bahamas is actually a pretty small organization. We have no paid staff. It is entirely volunteer run and probably 90% volunteer funded. There is a limit to what we're able to do, and we really try to address all of these issues as they come up while working on some of the fundamental issues that got us started, which are marital rape, nationality rights, and in general, looking at domestic violence and intimate partner violence.
Yeah. And to add to that too, I mean, looking at issues of poverty, marital rape, it crosses every boundary, right? It's an issue of power. It's an issue of someone having power over somebody else and taking away those rights. So that is absolutely a poverty issue as well.
Yeah. Advocacy is a big part of our work, but we also do a lot of community engagement. And maybe people who listen to radio don't realize that, but we have monthly events, Women's Wednesdays, where we bring women together to talk about lots of different issues, financial management, health, breast cancer screenings, all kinds of things we're doing on a regular basis. We have Feminist Book Club. Join us, read a book. We have conversations about the book that always seeps into sort of personal lives and challenges that we're facing. You know, when you start to bond with the group, a lot of these things come up and we're able to share resources. So there's a lot more that we're doing in addition to the advocacy.
Yeah, and it's really cool too. I mean, looking at International Women's Day, the reason it's so great too is it brings people together. And when women speak to each other, same thing for men, right? When you come together and you are honest with each other, you realize you're less alone than you thought you were, and you find solidarity in that. So that's why community is so important, right? It's sitting around, same thing, whether it's your family, your friends, your chosen family, is looking around and saying, I'm not alone here. I feel stronger than I felt before I got here. So we can do things, we can do hard things together, take that action, not just speak.
All right, so you've heard this before. So people will say, sure, we might not have had a female prime minister before, but we've got the Speaker of the House, we've got the governor in general, we've got the head of the Senate, we've got women who are heads of hotels, banks, big companies. It appears that it's the men in the country who are really struggling. There are fewer men in college. Men are dropping out of high school at higher rates. They're getting murdered more frequently. More needs to be done for men. What do you say to folks who are saying we need to put the focus on men, not so much women, who in the Bahamas at least have really achieved quite a lot of greatness?
Yeah, I think women have really come a long way, women and girls, and that's through our own effort. And I think that's through parenting, you know, parents saying you are going to have it so much harder as a woman. And for that reason, you need to do better in school. You need to go to college. You need to do well there. Whereas for the boys, it's kind of, well, you can get into a trade. You can go to a technical or a vocational school and do something else. And that's completely fine. You'll be able to make the same amount of money as a woman who goes off to college. This is the idea that people have. And so girls are pushed a lot harder. And that's one of the reasons that we're seeing girls and women in these positions and excelling in school. It's not just some magical thing. It's that we have been pushed because of the recognition of gender inequality, even if it's not called by that name, right? Our parents kind of knew there were certain things that I was looking at when I was wanting to go to college, and my parents were like, are you sure you want to go in that direction? Here are some of the barriers that you might face. You need to consider all of these things. And there seems to be a real concern about men and boys, but it's really interesting that this concern comes up almost exclusively when we talk about women and girls. And for those who are really concerned about men and boys, create the space.
Yeah.
Do the work to help men and boys who you see struggling. Because I see the issue of gender-based violence against women, and I see it as being an interpersonal form of violence, and I also see it structurally. And I see the relationship between very archaic colonial laws and the ways that we behave and the ways that we treat each other based on gender, as well as other markers. And those are the things that I'm working on. But I'm very happy for people who are passionate about other things and see other issues to step up to the plate and do the work, just like I'm doing the work.
Very well said. Very well said. All right, let's talk about what's going to be happening in the lead up to International Women's Day and what you're going to be doing on International Women's Day.
We have been hard at work all year preparing for the International Women's Day March and Expo, which we've been doing since 2017. So on Sunday, we had a great sign-making event, and we did some screen printing. So you'll see some of those shirts on the road on Saturday. And this evening, we're very excited. Claire came in yesterday to screen her film for us this evening, Empire Waste.
I'm so excited. So this is a film I wrote basically for my younger self. It's about teens learning to love their bodies through fashion design. So the whole part of it is like loving yourself exactly as you are is a radical act. So it's people of all different backgrounds, abilities. It's really exciting, and just accepting yourself as you are, and that you're worthy of following your dreams exactly as you are.
Wow.
So we're really excited. And so this is my first screening in the Bahamas, my first time in the Bahamas. So I'm very excited.
Very nice. Where can we see the film?
It is on, I'm not sure if it's playing in, let me find out. It's on definitely Prime Video for download, Amazon, Apple TV, Hoopla, libraries, stuff. But I'll get all the website stuff for you.
Well, we can see it tonight,
You
though.
can see it tonight at the
Okay.
National Art Gallery of the Bahamas on West
Mhm.
Hill Street. We'll be there at 6 o'clock. Try to be on time, because we want to make sure that we start playing the film early enough that we have a chance to have a little conversation with Claire after, and we don't want to keep people too late because it's a school night. People got work tomorrow. So try to be there as close to 6 o'clock as possible. We're going to have snacks and drinks. It's completely free of charge, as we do at Equality Bahamas, because we do care about people who are experiencing poverty, and we want
do.
them to be able to be in the space and share space with us.
Yeah,
6
and for
o'clock.
anyone who's interested in the arts or asking questions, I love answering questions about like demystifying filmmaking. So if
Okay.
you come on by, and there are no stupid questions ever.
Excellent.
How long is the film?
It's 94 minutes.
Oh, that's a feature.
It's a feature. It's
Wow.
really fun.
Excellent. That's today. And
And then on Saturday, meet us at Eastern Parade. People are like, where is Eastern Parade? It's that lawn between Scotiabank East Bay and St. Matthew's Cemetery, right by the bridge to PI. You access it from Dowswell Street. There's parking there. Meet us there at 8:45 on Saturday to choose your sign. We made lots of signs, so you don't even have to make your own if you don't want to. Pick your sign, learn some chants, and then we hit the street for the march. It's a pretty easy march. It's just from Eastern Parade to the Dundas on Mackey Street. So it takes us 30 minutes or less to get there. Once we get to the Dundas, we have a little surprise. If you were there last year, it's the same surprise, so you should show up for it. And at 10 o'clock, the expo opens. Miss Deidre will do a little Zumba. So that's a great little energy boost after the march. And after that, people are free to roam the expo. Some of the exhibitors are the Bahamas Crisis Center, the Dignified Girl Project. Those are the folks, Philippa Dean leads that, and they're making sure that there are menstrual hygiene products in schools. They're putting up the what do you call those? Like the machines in the walls, so you can get them for free.
Dispensers?
Dispensers,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. They also provide underwear and things like that to girls and women who wouldn't otherwise be able to get them.
This is a new thing they do?
They've been doing this for
They've been doing
years.
it for years.
The Dignified Girl Project, really, really cool.
Yeah, we had them on the show a few years ago. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
good.
It's so
still
exciting.
going.
I heard about the project, but the dispenser thing is that
That's
a new
fairly
thing they
new,
do? Oh,
like
okay.
in the last
really
year or two.
exciting.
That's good.
Yeah,
Good.
really, really cool.
That's a big, speaking
Yeah,
of money,
yeah.
that's a big barrier for people or feeling like they can't come to school because.
Yeah, and we welcome people to bring donations if they want of pads and tampons and things like that for the Dignified Girl Project, because they'll be there to collect. Hands for Hunger will also be with us. We'll have the UN Office of the Resident Coordinator out as well. I think OHCHR, they're in Nassau now. They'll probably be there at some point. And then there are sessions that are happening. Every hour there's a different session. There's always something for the body. So yoga, salsa dancing, and self-defense.
Which is at the same time as mine, and I'm like, can we do it at the same time? Can I be like punching while I teach about filmmaking?
Maybe not.
Honestly, but it's like, especially to like hype up Alicia. I've been following this from the U.S. for like the last 10 years. Her work and what you're doing down in the Bahamas, and seeing this organization come together and being able to be here for it with that much talent in the space and bringing people together is really exciting.
Yeah, so Claire's doing a session on filmmaking. We have Nicolette Bethel is going to do a session on writing for the stage, which is great, particularly because the deadline is coming up for short tales. If you wanted to submit something for short tales to play at Shakespeare in Paradise, I think the deadline is May 15th or 16th.
Okay.
So this is a good time to get some tips for writing your play.
Full day. Lots going to be happening
10
out there.
to 3.
Plus, Guardian Radio is going to be out there.
Yes.
2 shows going to be broadcasting live. The Happy Hour with Andrew Cartwright and Tell It to Stania with Stania Davis as well. So it's going to be a lot. On International Women's Day there on the Dundas grounds. Great
Yeah,
stuff.
we're very excited to have a little happy hour with Deandra and tell it all to Stania about what's going on site. There's a lot happening all day.
All right.
So exciting.
So we have about a minute left. Your final words to folks as International Women's Day approaches, and again, to the folks who are feeling left out, what do you say to them, and your message to folks as the day approaches?
We gave you a little overview. If that kind of all just blew right by you, you can get all the details at lu.ma/IWD 2025. So Luma, lu.ma/IWD for International Women's Day 2025. You'll see all the events listed there. This is an event that is centering women and girls, so we want to see you on the march. Of course, we would love to see people of all genders come and support all of our demands. We have signs for all kinds of different things: my body, my choice, criminalize marital rape, equal pay for work of equal value, big feminist energy, all kinds of things. Come out. You can even bring your own sign. And if you feel like this is not necessarily the space for you, you maybe don't want to be on the march, that's fine. You can be at the Dundas waiting for us. We always need help handing out water. If you just want to be a part of it in a different way, great. And if you're not available, follow us on all of the socials, Equality242, or just look up Equality Bahamas to see what else is going on. We have lots of events, and maybe this one just isn't the one for you, and that's okay. We'll see you next month in April for the next Women's Wednesdays.
Okay. Wonderful stuff. Alicia Wallace, Claire AU, nice meeting you.
Thank
Great
you.
to have you.
Likewise, this is so great. Thanks for having us.
And happy International Women's Day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break and be back after news with Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
For showing me the meaning of success.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. Opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Wednesday, March 5th, 2025. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. And this morning, we got a lot of things we're going to be doing this morning. We're going to be talking about opportunities in Canada for Bahamians. We're also going to be catching up with an old friend. Nahaja Black is in studio with us.
Hey.
Hello, Nahaja.
What's up, guys? Y'all look so good.
Good to see you.
Oh, you've been missed.
We miss you. We miss you.
The familiar faces. It feels home.
You look warm.
I am warm. And I love it. Y'all don't even understand. I've missed home. This is good.
I can imagine. So you, for people who don't know, you've been in Ottawa. You are the first Secretary Consul for the Bahamas High Commission.
Correct.
In Canada.
Correct.
So it's a big title.
It's a very diplomatic title that definitely is reserved for those folks much smarter than I. But I've been blessed to have the opportunity to serve in this post. And it has been one of those great challenges, you know, when you want to grow and stretch and learn and see what can be done for your country. So it's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
You came down for the Bahamas Canada Trade Mission. It's
Innovation
Trade Mission.
Correct.
And we want to get to that. But tell folks about what you do exactly in Ottawa.
Well, so diplomatically, the title First Secretary is a diplomatic post. They would be at the, you would find it at your high commissions, right, your embassies. And then council would serve as your Bahamian diaspora sort of work. So council or within the consulate or in high commission or embassies serve as your diaspora relations, passports, visas, etc. Diplomatic, in terms of those, are just rankings. So you have your first, second, your third secretary. You have your head of chancery consular, who is above all of us, and then you have your high commissioner or ambassador.
Yeah.
Now, with my function and role, serving diplomatically in that spot, we do have things that within policy, whatever is the negotiations within country, it's very technical. High commissioners do all of the diplomatic work. We do the technical work. What is the paper that needs to be drafted, data that needs to be collected, dip notes that need to be written, etc. And then there's a special function that I also serve, which is in trade and investments within my posting as well. So that's my baby, my wheelhouse, really, using a lot of the years of, I would say, experience and knowledge garnered through my life, and using them in this position to help facilitate bilateral trade agreements or bilateral trade initiatives between Canada and the Bahamas. A very open market, and I would say untapped in how we can partner with that market.
Okay,
So
I
that
want
was
to talk a lot more about that this morning.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing so far up to this point? Bahamians interested in doing things in Canada or vice versa?
I would say it's a bit of both.
Okay.
It's a bit of both. Definitely there is interest in specific areas where Canadian entrepreneurs, business owners see the Bahamas as a wonderful opportunity to grow and expand.
Like what?
In particular, grain tech, sustainable development. So a lot of that grain energy, the Bahamas is like prime for that level of research or that level of investment where they would see, oh, you guys have a lot of sun, we want to do solar work. We have a different type of way of determining when, I know you use a lot of diesel fuels, your generators may fall down. We have AI technology that can help predetermine before the generator dies, that can help you predetermine it so you'll have less downtime.
That's a real conversation, not an example.
Exactly.
That's a real, okay.
Real conversations,
okay.
right? So there are wonderful opportunities that within the tech space that excite me and excites Canadians where they see an opportunity to partner in that venture. But green energy and academic partnerships, not just in the sense of, faculty exchanges, but more so in, listen, we are open to helping businesses research and solve a problem. Yeah. And that is why this innovation trade mission was so important, where I thought that maybe now we can move from, it was getting harder and harder to bring awareness to Bahamians about the opportunities one-on-one.
Right.
And so it was wiser to bring a sampling of what could be home. So it was easier, though harder work, to bring them home than trying to get attention from folks one-on-one, because I'm not here. So if I was here on the ground, it would be easy to knock on a door and say, hey, you need to pay attention to this. But it was easier now to just bring a bunch of folks here and see if we could pay attention.
Excellent. Okay. So Cheshire was covering it quite a bit for the Guardian, National Guardian.
Yes.
But you tell us, so who came and what was happening during these few days for this mission?
Okay, so a little bit of background. There's a reason why. So first of all, this is the inaugural. This is the first time we've ever done anything like this out of our High Commission. So first of all, special thanks to High Commissioner Gray, who was very supportive of the idea. And of course, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who had to say yes, and everyone else who had to subsequently say yes to the pitch every time it was pitched. So Ottawa is a wonderful place where many would not realize how much technology or tech research happens in the capital of Canada. So it is only known for its federal positioning. It's the federal center of the capital of Canada, the federal center of Canada. But it also holds the largest tech park in Canada.
Really?
It's actually in my neighborhood. It's called the Canada North Tech Park. And so I got there in May. I remember we got there May 11th, May 22nd. I had the chance to meet the CEO. And she's a wonderful lady, filled with energy. And, at this point, I'm flying at the seat of my pants on what we could do after seeing it. And she was excited with that idea. And that began conversations and meeting more of these wonderful companies. Shopify is headquartered there because Shopify is a Canadian company. Actually, Canadians are very proud of Shopify because it's like the biggest tech company. Canadian owned, right?
Okay.
And then you have BlackBerry. Many people are like, BlackBerry?
Does it still exist?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But BlackBerry, what we don't realize is that BlackBerry they create the critical components for autonomous vehicles. And for your electric, they have some of the critical components across the world that they produce for your smart vehicles today. And so they are now BlackBerry IQ. That's what they're called there. And they're in Ottawa. You have Nokia. Again, people are like, Nokia? Because we're only thinking about the thing in our hand.
Right.
And so we think it's all obsolete. But these companies shift. And so Nokia now is, its North American headquarters is in Ottawa. And it is investing another $3.5 billion right there in Ottawa for headquarters and campuses. So anyways, I'm digressing. The point is, so this then spurred this conversation. How can the Bahamas, because of course COVID taught us a wonderful lesson. It was a hard lesson, but a wonderful lesson, that the reality of tourism being a fickle industry was not understated. It is indeed correct. Without that revenue source, we find ourselves flatlining at 100% debt to GDP. We need alternatives to growth. The disruptor of any society in changing and shaping equity within culture will be technology. But if we continue to just be consumers of technology, we find ourselves getting the last of tech, not the first of tech, and then being priced as if it's the first gen in technology. So we can even look historically, look at some of the tools that we would get in government and be charged quite a bit, in terms of software, websites. And you're like, Jesus, but this website seems pretty old. And then charge top dollar.
Yeah.
But that's the last of tech. We don't get the first to use. How do you get into the center of the space? So the Caribbean region has been known to get the last of it. The South is where we get the last of most, or overpriced at best. This is where the opportunities, what we see in Canada, is that they are looking for expansion. They are looking to grow. But it isn't, we have to be different in our approach. It isn't come and just invest, come and partner. Because the growth comes when our young people are involved in the development of technology. We have over 9 million tourists that come a year. Our market is not 440,000. Again, I keep repeating this old stat. I don't really know what the new census says about our population. So I'm repeating old numbers. Please correct me, Dwight.
That's about right.
Okay. But the selling pitch and point is that it's 9 million plus on average. What new technology, what new set of apparatus can help our businesses on Bay Street? And like those communities that tend to have to fight and grapple for the tourist that comes off board. But how do we now use technology to allow when that guest comes off the ship, we're geofencing quickly and capturing for the guy who's down maybe not at prime port level, but somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
How do we then have our people not look at tech as just the process of transactions, but the process of expansion of my brick and mortar to a more digital space? So the woman who has a tour company, but it's all the way out east, right? Or she has a wonderful backyard garden. She's able to capture the tourists on the ship as soon as they are at port because we've done something with technology that geofence. So the product of tourism can be expanded to more Bahamians through the use of technology. This is where my mindset was when I started seeing these opportunities, but it requires education. There's no innovation without education. So now we have to get a mindset shift also in our educational spaces. Universities are open. Even with cybersecurity, universities want to partner with any institution here that wants to grow and build research in cybersecurity. Yeah. So we could call the University of U Ottawa today, and they will be like, we'll fly down tomorrow and speak to anybody. Wow. Any institution. So in our financial sector, their cybersecurity space is led by IBM. Only 4 centers owned by IBM in the world where they literally go through real life scenarios. So a code red incident in a country. So say, for example, we have so many planes flying around. Someone infiltrates and hacks our control tower, and now we have planes that are colliding into each other. IBM, through U Ottawa, has a cyber center where governments can go through a code red. Our techs, our computer people, now all of a sudden I'm losing my words, but they would be able to go through a real-life simulation of a cyber attack of that magnitude. Now governments can practice and learn and figure out how do we stop these aggressive, So there are partnerships that we see that are nation-building partnerships, that are entrepreneurial in this tech space, that can do wonders with research especially if we're talking about clean energy, green energy, smart city building, that are ripe and ready to go. So this was what this trade mission was about. How do we bring those interested parties to all and sundry who are listening, in particular our leaders,
right?
Because that was one of my thing, like at some point, if we're nation building, let's bring them to our leaders, but also to our businesses. And our businesses then can say, you know what, I want to add that. I want to add this level of understanding or technology to my company so I can provide this as a service to our people. And that's where the Chamber of Commerce came in. That's where our Ministry of Agriculture came in, our Ministry of Tourism. So we've had a lot of partnerships. So really, it ended up being 18 companies. Unfortunately, we were hoping for a bit more, but tariff scares and whatnot, things changed.
Oh, boy.
And it caused some intrepidation, but I am feeling assured that if we did it again, and when we do it again, we'll also get to see more.
And these were mainly tech companies.
All tech.
In
the green tech, green tech space, hospitality and AI innovation. We had in what's the other? It's 4 pillars. Now I'm running a blank. Tertiary was there, and what is the other?
I should remember the other one too.
I know. Agri-tech.
Agri-tech.
Agri-tech, which is another huge, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That one gets me excited, so I don't want to discuss that. Agri-tech is great.
So kind of break it down for us. What are these people kind of looking for? I know what we're looking for. We hear about tech hubs all the time. We're looking at Grand Bahama for this tech hub. We've been talking about it for 8 years.
Quite a bit
9
of years. Actually,
almost.
maybe decades.
No, much longer.
I think
Much
so.
longer. Much longer. Because
I think the last government was like they really like tried to do it. Like they had people coming down and.
We've heard the Silicon Valley of
the Silicon Valley of the
Bahamas for a
Caribbean
long time.
So they talk about people are gonna want to come here to do tech.
They won't,
because it's warm and it's not Canada.
Well,
right? So like, what are people really looking
Well,
for when they look at obviously partnerships, but
no. See what as a repeated mantra of mine now, after being to so many. So this for me, I'm excited about. I want this to happen. We need this as a people to happen for the sake of our young people, for the sake of hope, for the sake of excitement and to believe again. We need innovation. We need something that is outside of the status quo. Yeah. Because wealth will not come through what we have. It needs to be disrupted, and tech will be the disruptor. So I am for the tech infrastructure, the tech hub, that idea. But tech is a culture. It isn't a person. It is a culture. It isn't a business. It is a culture. It is an energy that comes through academia. It is an energy that comes through a problem that requires a solution. And then it has to be facilitated also by interested parties, private and public, who said that these are the problems that we have. For example, what would be a wonderful thing, and then, other things have to happen too, because tech people are bougie. They are. They're bougie in the sense that if you want to make a Silicon Valley, you got to put the water.
Certain things.
Yeah, you need to put some waterfalls in random places and bike paths so you got to spruce it up a bit.
They spoil now.
Yeah. They don't
and
want
reliable electricity.
Right. They don't want
that's
hardship.
A big one.
Right? They don't want hardship. Yeah. And so I think things that are appealing is that, first of all, you've got to incentivize the idea. I think it was Dubai or Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi's UAE, right? They did something wonderful with their tech park. They're incentivized. Obviously, they're super rich, so we can't be them. Not even close.
Not yet.
Not close. So that's a different level what they did. Because they set apart, memory serves me, is either 500 million or 5 billion. That's a big difference. I'm thinking because it's them, it's probably 5 billion, but we'll go with 500 million just for safety's sake. But they set it aside, and that is a funding where they are telling now, we have X situations, X problems. We want you all around the world to begin bidding to solve problems.
Wow.
That begins, of course, people coming with these crazy solutions. And now the government is saying, okay, I like that idea. However, in order to do this, you're going to have to use X amount of our people. Because now we have funding for it. That begins to draw all of these tech companies to saying, we're going to solve X problems and we're going to be right here in your special commercial, and we can facilitate these ideas and this growth. And then they have a central hub as well, where you can work in and do work throughout. Those are ways where you can engage and begin to build it. But it is an energy. So it requires our University of the Bahamas to be a participant, one of the leaders in this space. It requires if we're talking about marine sciences energy, how do we bring BAMSI on board so that it begins to grow as an academic and tertiary institution in this space as well, leading the way for research? Because tech is research. AI, what the Chinese were able to do with DeepSeek compared to OpenAI in the short period of time, that in itself is innovative. Without all of the NVIDIA, well, they say maybe they had the NVIDIA chips, who knows? But, there's a wonderful opportunity there. So it's a cultural thing.
It sounds like we need to find our niche.
Yes.
In tech.
I think it's hospitality AI.
Right. Oh, well, there you go. Or like you mentioned, BAMSI, fisheries, or marine science tech, and grow that into something we can sell somewhere else.
Yes. Present the problem. Folks will get excited with a challenge. Techie, not just tech people. So people think tech folks are the fellow who sits and does the code.
Right.
A tech CEO is just a CEO who sees a problem that can be solved with technology. So they're not necessarily the guy who does the code or the woman who does the code. Right. They are the person that says, I believe I can use technology to solve X problem. That means then that many of us as Bahamians could be tech CEOs based on the problems we believe we can solve. All it is bringing folks together.
Absolutely.
And the niches, when I tell you CEOs get excited, it's never linear. Discussions are never linear. Don't ever just say, come to the Bahamas, it's sunny. Come on. They vacation in the Bahamas. They don't view the Bahamas as a place to do tech business. That is a different argument. That is a different picture.
Right.
There has to be purpose, right? I had one CEO tell me, say, Nahaj, if you can find 100 people who in your country who are able to do this particular type of work, he's in cloud computing. He said, we'll put a shop, an office in the Bahamas right now. So tech companies are looking for talent. They're not looking for, because they don't see us as a marketplace, but they'll see us as a talent place.
Yeah.
So that's why there's so much things that have to change.
Yeah.
So much things that have to adjust.
That's the next thing, right? To build the talent
Yes.
And if you can't have an empty building.
Exactly.
Right. You can put the waterfall, but if nobody's
nobody's
throwing
there.
coins in it, it's a broke waterfall.
Yeah, and that's why education is important,
Yeah.
and really even the diaspora outreach across the world, giving Bahamians abroad who have done this, who are doing this. You should see, we have so many brilliant Bahamians in Canada who are doing exceptional work in these spaces. And if you were just to create a home, and we as a people have to realize too that you got to stay out of people's money business, because, if you bring someone like this, like there's a brilliant young man, I've never met him. I've heard of him through Canadians.
Mm-hmm.
This is how amazing this young man is.
A Bahamian.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I heard of him through white Canadians.
Mm-hmm.
Not even my good black Canadian friends, my white Canadians who are in business and tech. Oh, there's a wonderful Bahamian young man who's doing something wonderful in AI and cybersecurity I think he's in Saskatchewan, very rural, very way up there. But nonetheless, his work precedes him. And he is making some real money. You can't get him to come home. And then all of us, we want to splash his income on social media because how did this fella come in here and make all this money than us? You don't know the seeds that he's sown and the work that he could do. So we also as a people have to be mindful that there are some things and some folks who are just we're going to have to call them home and do what we got to do.
Wow. All right, so we want to find out more about the outcomes from the trade mission. Let's take these calls really quickly, though. We're talking with Nahaja Black. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Name Dwight and your guest. How you doing?
Doing well.
Boy, I really love this topic. Really, really, really love it. Right? Question, right, for your guest, right? The new Tesla bought Generation 3, right? What is the time frame in her estimation that the government is going to actually introduce the Tesla robots? Because it isn't even a question on if it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, because technology is inevitable. When is the time frame that people have that the government is going to strike a balance in between computers and people? Because eventually the Tesla robots are going to be into fields in the government sector and the private sector. We know the banks automatically they getting rid of tellers. That's the obvious. They're going to use them. I think Alan Luck is more than likely going to use them because Sabah, he loves technology.
Okay, this is a lot of out there speculation. I don't even know if there was a question in there, but okay. Well, yes, the future is scary if you allow it to be. We could.
Have you seen robotics in Canada replacing people?
No.
Is that doing?
Listen. Robotics has been around for a long time. Automation in car making it's commonplace. No, we don't see that in Ottawa, but we do see wonderful technology in terms of the autonomous vehicles, making streets smarter for traffic. I just like smart city building. For me, I get excited.
That is a problem we need to help us to deal with the traffic issues and the public transportation.
Can I tell
lack
you
thereof in
how
Providence.
seriously they take this thing in Ottawa? They have a space called Area XO, and I think it's about 70 acres of land. Obviously, they have the space in the land. But this space is only for research for smart city planning. So there are streets that they make that is laid out, and they will go ahead and have cars that are moving around by themselves, stoplights and indicators. They're making sure the sensors work everywhere. There's even stuff as simple as the fire hydrants being smart enough, the sensors in the fire hydrants to know when it needs to be repaired. This place is ridiculous. Then they have smart farming that happens at this space. Drone setups to test those. They take their research, and that is what I would love for us to get, that there is research required, intention required for growth and building. It can't be rhetoric. It has to be intentional, strategic, and timed for how we grow culturally in innovation.
Yeah.
And I tell you, our people would be so excited if we were to really, just in business, if we start just in the business front of really trying to get more entrepreneurs connected to simple things like QR coding.
But this is the thing. We need to get this call. But smart cities, people have been talking about that for years, right? So it seems like it's intentional that we are not moving in that direction here.
It takes a lot of management. It takes a lot of corralling, though. Smart city building requires, it isn't just saying it, we have to get a lot of entities on board. So you have to get telecom involved in smart city. Yeah. So telecoms have to be involved. Smart cities require a lot of fiber, a lot of speaking to smart tech. Then you have multiple layers of technology that already exists. That isn't one, that's a disjointed. So it's a disjointed network. Forget the Bahamas was built in NASA was built in a disjointed way. So infrastructure, there's probably 60, 70 different name brands in tech just in how we do things.
It probably requires big changes in infrastructure,
Big changes in
physical
infrastructure.
changes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we could just shut it down and move to another island.
Or we can make a pilot space, right?
Yeah.
So if you're building a new community, if you're the government and housing, build a smart community and test it out. But,
Let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mina Haja Black.
Good morning. How are you?
Yalen Johnson.
Oh, the smart guy's on the phone. All right. Go see Alan.
Yeah, smart homes, smart businesses, smart communities, smart cities, smart islands. Then you get a smart country.
Steps.
That Dwight, for that person who asks information, tell him 17 years, 6 months, 5 days, 2 hours, and 18 seconds before we get to where he's talking about.
Wow.
Okay. The fact that you had that rolled right out there, you had that timer set aside.
My goodness.
Right. But see, Dwight, and also the student, for those who's listening, right? The problem is that we've had a lot of talk. Oh, by the way, if you want to know who introduced the concept of a digital Bahamas, you only need to go back to the twin hurricanes. It's a concept that I introduced here. Was initially adopted by the Chamber on Grand Bahama, then adopted by the Grand Bahama Port Authority, then adopted by the Chamber in New Providence and the government at that time. And it was a huge hoopla, right? It was everything in the newspapers and everything. But guess who wasn't included in that? The person who brought the silly idea, me, when I came from the U.S. But, what happens was it was a copy of the fact that the 10th largest data center in the world that is situated in Miami, that's used by the U.S. government and everything else, that serves the Caribbean and South America, considered Grand Bahama as one of the 3 places in the Bahamas as a possibility as being that place. We went through the whole shebang, and we did not understand. Our leadership from the late 90s into the early 2000s did not understand exactly what that opportunity was. That opportunity still exists. But you talk about the same infrastructure. So we've had a lot of conversations over the years concerning what it is. And the thing about it is, Nahaj is correct. We keep speaking from a consumer mindset. But when you start talking about building in a technology field or building in any field, it begins with an intuitive insight, then goes to curiosity, imagination, then comes to creativity, ideation, creation, true information, and finally you have this called digital transformation. But you have to understand the aspect. This is not about making a baby. This is about creating new life. And that's where we think it's just a quick act to create a baby. It's not. It requires thought, planning, and initiative. And because the Bahamas even more so, believe it or not, the Bahamas is more prepared today than ever with the move to this corporatocracy that is being established that will not go back. Donald Trump started this in his first term and is now being accelerated because essentially when Donald Trump began his comeback, the technocrats and those individuals such as the PayPal mafia, in case you don't know, Dwight, you should do this research. The PayPal mafia, such as Elon Musk's father is the one who came up with or was part of the concept of technology controlling the world. And so we are in a location that's, I can't even, there's no place, and I can just understand it's right. You heard me said that the Bahamas is the most digitally prepared country in the world. I think somewhere in December of 2020 that appeared in the paper. Grand Bahama, I think you put it as number 2, but we're still number 1 because of our location and some other things. Grand Bahama, if treated as a country, would be the second most prepared country in the world. The question is, why haven't we done anything? It's because leadership have no understanding of the new dispensation we are. I said leadership. I didn't say Bahamians, because Bahamians around the world are involved in technology. And between my brother and I, we got 10 Chilens that's actually involved with it. And Dwight, I think I sent the information showing you when my brother's youngest daughter is one of the programmers and coders for AI at at Google. So the people are there. We have the people around the world. We just need leadership to understand the vision, tap into that intelligence we have, and design a blueprint so we can be great in the new world order, because there's no going back.
Thank you so much.
Naja, keep up, man. I love you.
Thank you, buddy.
So this is going back to what I always say. Clearly, this is working for somebody. This madness and chaos works for somebody, and that is unfortunately holding us back.
Well, we also can't work together. Like it just doesn't work well, and we don't like to see other black people and broke black people to make money around us. It can't happen around us.
No,
they got to go somewhere else.
It's conspiratorial, right? How did you get it, right? And the spirit of innovation is collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
That is where even the way we teach our kids in school is very much your desk, you face the front, your desk, you face the front, but in Canada, you face each other and you're going to collaborate. That team project, God, I hate it. But you got to collaborate. There's going to be a math situation, and we're all going to have to figure this out together, standing in front of the board. How do you think we should do this? So there are ways we have to adjust, but you cannot build if the foundation isn't strong and if we're not looking to the future. And it has to include young people. In any transformation that we do, we have to make sure that we're preparing the generation to actually build on it. A culture of curiosity.
All right, running out of time. So what came out of the mission? Are there partnerships? Are we going to see something exciting anytime soon?
I got good news. Again, this was a B2B, mainly a B2B initiative, right? Trying to connect businesses, Bahamian businesses with Canadian businesses. Got good news yesterday. One company is very excited. I think they are on the precipice of signing 2 agreements with 2 different companies.
Okay.
And there are more to come that we'll hear from the Canadian side, but that was just one Canadian company just responding to me directly. And so that's exciting news because I know who they're doing business with, so that means that'll work out quite well for almost all of us with what they're doing in the green space. So that's exciting. And we're hopeful that there will be more. But really, my goal in all of this, though we wanted those outcomes, obviously, the main thing was to push the introduction of this discussion in a bilateral sense between both countries. That this is something where the Bahamas is ready to receive what we may not have even understood to be something to receive, right? So now the conversation shifts. How do we not just integrate tech into our business, but integrate this culture into our daily conversation and discourse? How do we push more so than just don't realize this phone can help to steer a boat whilst I'm sitting here, or, it's going to help feed my plants whilst I'm in Paris and deal with my farm.
Right.
I want those things for us. I want farming to be sexy again.
And you say more missions are coming, and I guess there'll be somewhere we go to Canada.
Yes. Well, we've already been doing that. We've had wonderful groups come into Canada, so that's one of the things the High Commission is very proud of. We've been working. We've been working in Ottawa and across all missions. Really, I will say that there are wonderful Bahamians doing great things through all of the missions that we have here.
I got to ask you this. We got about 30 seconds left, but you mentioned tariffs earlier. Are there fears that all the work that you're doing could be derailed because of tariffs?
No,
and what
I think this
we might be seeing over the next few weeks?
We're in a wonderful position because we're not the U.S. And now that we believe that we serve as an advantage to our Canadian counterparts because this is a new market for them, an expansion without all of these tariffs. We obviously have our own border tariffs that we have, but those aren't serving to be a challenge. And I believe now more than ever, we could have even more excitement from our Canadian colleagues when we position ourselves. The Bahamas is the gateway to the Caribbean, geographically and with regard to our stability in government, our strong dollar, etc.
All right. Naja Black, good to see you.
Good to see you
We
both,
miss your
guys.
voice, but it's good to talk to you occasionally.
Yes. I miss you guys.
Keep up the great work that you're doing there in
man.
Ottawa.
When are you ready to rehire me?
What now? We can't afford you.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
But
boy.
still.
Good seeing you again. We got to take a quick break. We'll be back to wrap things up in just a bit. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Dominica Republic, destination for the team. When an all-expense paid trip for 2 by signing 3. Or more money transfers to enter, what a deal. With Western Union, you get to see just how it feels. Yeah, esto está caliente. Te baridas, really hard to Hola, hola from the DR. Taking pictures for the gram just to show you we are. GK Money be the motion, papi, mamacita. Go to Chris Kennedy, the team is ready to start because Domination for the team. With an all-expense paid trip for 2 by signing 3. Or more money transfers to enter, what a deal. With Western Union, you get to see just how it feels, yeah. To see just how it feels, yeah. With Western Union.
The Central Bank is continuing to recognize outstanding scholarly work by Bahamian College students. The T. Baswell Donaldson Research Prize of up to $20,000 will be awarded for the winning research paper on any topic in economics, finance, or business related to the Bahamas. The top finalists will also be selected to participate in the summer research seminar organized by the Central Bank. Submission deadline is April 30th, 2025. For more details, email exr@centralbankbahamas.com.
It is time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. The deficit expanded to $209.3 million in the second quarter of the government's fiscal year 24-25 from $197.2 million in the second quarter of fiscal year 23-24. That's according to the Central Bank of the Bahamas' monthly economic and financial developments report for January. The report further notes that during the period, aggressive expenditure increased by aggregate expenditure increased by $135.6 million, or 16.2%, to $971.4 million, outpacing the $123.5 million, or 18.6% rise in total revenue to $762.1 million. Brickell Management Company and New Providence Development Company have partnered to build a new commercial and light industrial park directly across from the Airport Industrial Park. It's going to feature 90 lots that are already 55% reserved. According to a statement from BMG, the 76-acre site called Westfield Commerce Park is already in high demand. Total departures net of domestic passengers declined by 4.6% to 137,974 in January compared to last year, according to data provided by the Nassau Airport Development Company. According to the data, U.S. departures fell by 4.8% to 116,773. Likewise, international departures decreased by 3.6% to 21,201 compared to the same period in 2024. In your market watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Tuesday, market movers: Commonwealth Bank moving 12,150 shares, closing down 17 cents to 485. Galena Holdings moving 1,000, unchanged to $12.01. Focall moving 1,500, down 10 cents to $6. Consolidated Water down 5 cents to $5.43. Emira Incorporated up 16 cents to $10.04. The BISX All Share Index closing at 2,997.01, down 0.15. That's your market watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. Chester Robards, that's going to do it for us today.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
I'll see you next week.
See you next week.
And I'll be back. What? What now? Excuse
Yes, see
me?
you
What?
next week.
Okay. I'll see. You have something to say? No, okay.
no,
I'll see
do
you
it.
tomorrow morning with more, whatever that's about. More Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here at Guardian Radio 96.9. You going somewhere? What?
We talked about
Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green next.
Spain sounds like this. But with a little Caribbean, it can sound like this. The world needs more Caribbean. And with FedEx, you can ship your products to every corner with increased cargo capabilities, 24/7 shipment tracking, and shipping tools. Take your business world more like us.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.